Hi, my name is Raylynn Meyers and I'm doing my presentation on industrial and organizational psychology. Here's my audience. Alrighty. Have you ever found yourself being a mediator in between your friends and your family, and after the problem gets resolved, you actually feel like you were able to resolve the problem and you could use it to benefit the greater good? Typically, when people first hear me talk about my major in industrial and organizational psychology, the first thing they ask is, what is that? Only in the last century has this field of psychology been introduced to the prevalence of eliminating employee discrimination, providing a sound measure for pro-social work environments, and being a platform to solve real-world problems that any of us can encounter at work. Here in the next few minutes, I will inform you on the importance in distinguishing between the I and the O in industrial and organizational psychology, what you can do with a degree in this field, and how it walks hand in hand with human resources. The I and the O are the two moving parts of industrial and organizational psychology. Taylor Sparks, a graduate from the University of Georgia with a PhD in industrial psychology, said that the dual character of the specialty is confusing, especially for new students, and labeled the industrial side more technical and precise, and the O side as the more moral approach. The I, or the industrial side, is more focused on the organizational policies and processes that have an impact on the individual level. Industrial psychology employs statistics, as well as measuring mental traits and processes to design fair and unbiased hiring procedures for new employees by basing job analysis around tests that measure skill. The O is also known as the organizational side, stands for areas that focus on maximizing organizational importance. For example, in the 1950s, a researcher by the name of Henry Landsberger conducted studies to see if there was a correlation between productivity and work environment at an electric company. Originally, the focus was to measure the amount of light and the effect that it has on workers, but in the end they found out that if people knew they were being watched or observed, that they had changed dramatically. They altered the way that they were working to fit the needs of the observer rather than acting as themselves. The sum of these two parts is measuring the individual in an unbiased way for the needs of a job, combined with the tactics to facilitate group and team dynamics. So what can you do with a degree in this field? IO psychology is a diverse field with opportunities in many different areas. Many IO psychologists work in the business sector in jobs dealing with worker productivity, employee training, assessment, and human resources. Some IO psychologists work in academic or research programs. Specific duties depend heavily on where an individual is employed and the organization they work for. An example, an IO psychologist may work for a specific business to help select and train the best employees for specific positions. In other situations, an IO psychologist might assess company policies and practices in order to maximize efficiency and productivity. Salaries for IO psychologists vary depending on the type of employee that they're working for and the degree that they have obtained. Typically, someone with a master's degree in IO psychology can earn an annual salary of up to $64,000 a year. Others with a degree in IO psychology working in the private sector can earn up to $100,000 a year. And the top 5% of industrial and organizational psychologists can earn anywhere from $250,000 a year to several million. So now you have a better understanding of why I chose this field. Usually whenever I have a discussion with people with IO Psych for the first time, they usually bring up human resources and ask if they're related. Although the difference between IO psychology and human resources is focused more on the acquisition of employees, disciplining employees, and IO psychology is based more around understanding people and why they do what they do. Both disciplines promote strong and interpersonal growth of communication between the two. Although IO Psych is a small field, it's projected to grow from 35% from 2010 to 2020. Today, I discussed why industrial organizational psychology is interesting by explaining the difference between the I and the O of industrial and organizational psychology, what you can do with a degree in this field, and comparing and contrasting IO psychology with human resources. Who knows? Maybe after watching this, you'll reconsider your major and delve into the ever-changing world of industrial and organizational psychology.